To the point, Grenada, that comes up just about now. Good morning, Grenada, Carriacou, Petite Martinique, the rest of the Eastern Caribbean. To you, wherever you are, welcome to the point for today. It is the 8th day of the month of January. So it's a great Friday, and I'm happy that we've been here doing this until 6 o'clock and keeping you really great company. It's Open Line Friday, and you're giving you the opportunity wherever you are, those of you here at home across the region, you get an opportunity to engage. The politicians, they get their time to talk, but it is good when the populace, you're given the opportunity to share your thoughts, your opinions, and issues as it relates to nation building, whether or not it's directly in the political fray, whether or not you have some social concern, maybe something to do with what is happening, what's not happening, what you would like to see. COVID-19, there's a question of vaccines, a lot of different things being banded about. Are you going to take the vaccine? If it comes down to that, would it be made mandatory? What are you going to do? What are you not going to do? How does it affect you? How does it not affect you? A whole lot of things. The Grand Lake saga, and that is the issue with the Breakwater project now. The PM saying help is on the way. Here we are, folks. It is 2021. And today you get the opportunity to call in or even share on the WhatsApp platform. We say good morning to those of you that's following us online at www.gbn.gd, or you possibly following us via the World Wide Web at www.gbn.gd, via our YouTube channel or Facebook page. To the point, it is Friday. We take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back. A minute gone past the hour. Welcome back to the program. It is Friday. To the point, as I intimated, it is an open line forum where we give you the opportunity to the general public, wherever you are, here at home, to share. The number is 435-2041. That's the direct number in studio. Or you can call us. You can WhatsApp your questions, your questions, your concern. If you maybe said that a question you want to direct to some public officials. I know there are a lot of people that have a lot of issue. There was a gentleman that I spoke with earlier the week that raised concern with a sewer issue somewhere. I think it's in the Lackalome area, and a host of different things that bothers us. There is the ever-changing weather system. As soon as the rain falls, listen what happens. The place is flooded out. Some of us have saying, listen, we need to have an integrated drainage system. Some study be done that addresses the drainage and the flooding that takes place within the town of St. George, Grand Anse. Years ago, there was a project that was on. I'm not sure if it was completed. Are you satisfied with it? Share your thoughts, your concerns, where things are. COVID-19, what has been happening, what hasn't been happening. Only recently we had news of our first COVID-related death. An inquiry has been set. A team has been set up to investigate and ascertain all of the information surrounding it. Classic, good morning. You are live.
Good morning, brother.
Good morning. Go ahead, please.
Good, sir.
Yes.
No, the Breakwater thing is there's something you amended in any case. Let's check it out. There was I don't say by myself, I go from Maryland when they want to be time, the days gone by, and the coconut tree was there, and she would all coconut trees. In my school, then there was sandbanks and things in the back of the city, back of the city, and see back sandbanks high about 6 feet tall. And the city, we all them things in pass and go with it. No, they had a bit market back when Mr. Park building in the
Well, let me ask you, because I want to make sure that we're clear. The issue of the erosions that you're referring to, are you relating that directly to the Breakwater project?
Before the Breakwater, that was there before in any case, And the seat was a bit market in the background of the park, and and the mid-market sinking in any case.
No, so what I'm asking you, are you making a direct correlation to the Breakwater project?
Because I'm making, but what was there before the Breakwater come in any case, And the sea, all I'm thinking about the sea, all I'm thinking about there.
Okay.
So I'm put the Breakwater now to hold back them. Almost a large place and all the whole tongue after the post office belong there to the fish market was going on by the sea.
Okay.
So they put the Breakwater now to cool down the water coming in, and then they have the same building. Now, I understand you have sand there right now, high, I understand in the back there right now. But going down to Mount Craven area down there, now there's the open sea water, you call that. Land and sea same height. Now you got the Atlantic Ocean water at top open there. You have to come to open there in any case. So if you see rises in any part of the world, most of the water coming up heavy in the Caribbean, it will be the same thing too.
So you're saying that the issues that is being realized now has nothing to do with the breakwater project?
No, that about to be with the breakwater.
Okay.
Sea rising from all over the world, sea rising.
Okay.
So if you have flood and things in other countries, in any case, all the water going back in the sea.
So you're saying this is just a general attribution?
It just go and come.
Climate change?
Yeah, it just go and come. So
Okay.
Time high, so when it's time low, no problem. But when it's high, and the land and the sea same height, but that must come true.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Road and thing all along, they have coconut tree and they pass, you dig it up and they come back now, he come.
Okay.
Continue digging and go.
All the best to you. Thank you, sir.
When you understand how life goes, I mean,
435-2041, that's the number on the inside. This caller is saying, listen, that's just the way it is. These are just the impacts of COVID-19 and of climate change and not necessarily anything to do. Maybe directly, indirectly, the experts they are going to determine. 435-2041 as the number on the inside. We go back to the telephone lines. Classic, good morning, you're live.
Hi, good morning, JC.
Good morning to you.
My issue is just with the schools reopening on next week. I wish we had a little bit more clarity because we're seeing the guidelines. But from it, we can't tell, is it everybody supposed to be out? The school haven't said, is it 2 days a week? I mean, I know they want to keep the social distancing and so.
Right.
How are we supposed to proceed next week? It is not clear. It is Friday. School is supposed to be opening next week. What are we as parents to do? I wish somebody could give us some more clarity.
And that's a legitimate observation. When early in the week when we spoke with the minister and the CEO of the Ministry of Education, they did intimate that the decision was taken. However, the final tweaking of it, that parents should expect a notification directly from the schools. But I'm saying, if today's Friday, when will you get the notification? Well, but are you?
I have four children, different forms, different schools.
Right.
And up to now, I haven't heard from any of them what is happening for Monday.
Puts you in a precarious position, doesn't it?
It does.
And I'm hoping that there's an official out there that is literally hearing your concern, because it is a legitimate concern too. What happens come Monday morning if today, Friday, you've not been advised anything directly?
Well, I hope we hear something today, at least.
Let's hope that something gives. Thanks for calling. 435-2041. And the minister did intimate that, listen, yes, the school reopens in a phased process, Monday the 11th, and there is the following week, that of the 18th. And they did intimate that the schools themselves, the managers, principals, teachers in charge, they are the ones that would then roll out the specifics of how the dates, whatever happens. But if this caller is saying today's Friday, I have not been told. For kids, what happens on Monday? 435-2041. It is to the point. It is Friday. It is an open line. We go to the telephone lines. Classic, good morning. You're live.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
How are you doing?
Wonderful, thank you.
I don't see this school opening, but with social distancing, I don't see it. Because, I mean, I don't see that they're having this big set of social distancing in school, because the kids not there for a long, not for this amount of 8 or 10 hours or something. So what I see, if they could have that, well, they better take a bus and bring it in the school yard, because the bus fooling our school children to go to town. So better use a bus for the children get the schooling in. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. 435-2041, that is the number on the inside. You can also share your thoughts, your concerns, and you can register it on the WhatsApp platform, 435-2041. Another caller, good morning, you're live. Good morning,
Hello.
caller, you're live.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, you're live.
To everyone. Now the Breakwater Project. I listened to your first caller. Very interesting. The caller is saying the Breakwater is giving the Breakwater Project credit for the new beach outside of Kenny Lylson's place. I mean, is there anywhere in Grenada where you've seen a new beach created in the last 50 years? We haven't seen new beaches anywhere. I know we have lost beaches. So we understand that there was a problem there, and we commend the government for trying to assist. But you created something that was not there before. No, you know, one guy told me once, some time ago, that you can never stop water. You may divert it, but you can't stop it. So if you block it here, it's going to go somewhere else. So you're taking credit for creating a beach where there was not one, or a sandbank, as you said, but you're not saying that it contributed to the loss down there. All you have to do, 2 years ago, in November 2018, I went down at Mount Rodney, and you could see go there today, you'll see the same thing, Joe. You just stand there, and you see that wave coming directly from the end of the breakwater. You'd have to be a rocket scientist to tell that.
Right.
Mr. Anthony Boston argued with me. He said, no, it had nothing to do with the breakwater. Now, the Prime Minister yesterday said that studies were done. I challenged him to provide the studies because at the time when it first started, there was an admission from the Ministry of Work that no studies were done. They admitted no studies were done. There was no environmental impact assessment done at the time. Now, the Prime Minister is telling us studies have been done. Will he be so kind to provide us with one of those studies, just one?
Well, let me ask you, caller. I mean, I'm trying to put this into perspective. A major project of that undertaking, how then do you possibly fashion in your head that no sort of feasibility studies, there's no experts involved to say yes, no, the pros, the cons? How is that allowed to happen?
And it was an error. And now to say that studies were done, let us see the studies. And I believe, to be honest with you, the folks who are being displaced now, they should file a lawsuit against the government for the loss of their property. Now, $8,000 won't cut it. I mean, you lose your nice beachfront property, you lost your house and everything, and the government is offering you a measly $8,000? Joe, what can that do? So I think that the government needs to come clean with us. If a mistake was made, admit it. We can make mistakes. I mean, you try to do something and it goes wrong. But to say that it has nothing to do with breakwater, and to also say that studies were done, this is being disingenuous, this is being deceitful, and that won't help us.
Okay.
It would not help. Let us admit, take responsibility, and let us find a suitable way of moving forward. That's the only way this country will go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're most welcome.
435-2041, and this open line, it's to the point. To respond to, there's a caller online that just made a post via social media saying school will be open on Monday. Now, and we understand that those details were rolled out, what was made mention of by the CEO. However, she did also intimate that certain schools, based on the size of the school population, they would have to make specific arrangements as to how children they get to school, whether it's on a staggered basis. That conversation is what I think it is forthcoming, and that's what the caller was intimating to, that up until Friday, she isn't aware as to whether or not her child goes to school Monday half day, or you come in at 1 o'clock, you do part of your studies at home. I think that's some of the specifics of the question that persons, they are yearning to know. What are the specifics? 435-2041. It is Friday. It is an open line Friday, and certainly you get a chance to share. Classic, good morning. You're alive.
Yes, good morning, citizen Cadore. Greetings.
Good morning to you, sir.
Just briefly on the statement made to you by your last caller there. The so-called Prime Minister of this here country, some years ago when the the discussion came up on the breakwater, took responsibility. It's important that you people go back into the archives, took full responsibility for having done what was done without a feasibility study. Get back into the archives, pull it out, and put it to the people. So for them to come, that person to come today and so on, and making these statements, it shows the disingenuous, the untrustworthiness of these individuals. But that's not what I want to talk about today. This morning, Mr. Gentleman, you started a very, very important, should I say, endeavor, referring to, quote-unquote, emotions and their triggers. This is a very, very broad spectrum, but I want to focus in on one thing. One of the things, well, of course, it includes, you played music this morning. Music is only one thing. It can also mean that the singers, according to the songs they sing, this is the authors, so to speak, how it triggers different emotions. Speakers, the voices of the speakers, the tone of the speakers. I know people here to hear me and my tone. I'm not blowing my horn. But all these things affect something that seriously affects me. I reckon because I am quote-unquote blind. And that's why I always say I should have been blind before.
I would probably prefer to say visually challenged.
I am blind, according to certain people. But no, I'm visually challenged. No, I have a visual impairment. But certain people believe that I am blind because they feel that I can't see with the oculi, so I can't see at all. And no, you can't blame for that. They're feeling. Okay, what I'm saying is, I am insulted. My intelligence is insulted. This is the point I want to get to. Let's round it up quickly. When I hear certain things on radio by personalities who are supposed to be trained to be on radio, understanding crystally clear that the language, the official language of a country, has to be one of the stimuli for the enhancement of the development of our people, the literary skills of our people, and their capacity to relate to each other through communication. I hope we're not going too far. And so I feel really insulted to hear the bunkum. Note that word bunkum, investigators, see what it means. Total nonsense, paper, cat guts, pussy bowels, total baloney, spoken on the radio. And all people listen to these things, and we wonder why is it after 60 years of practice of a language. I went to school, I started in 1955, thereabout. Having been taught certain things, I had to come today and hear certain things totally distorted. I must accept it. And when I talk about it, get mad, they call me all sorts of names. And I'm not focused on me generally. But I believe that if we develop a proper way of speaking, especially what comes from the media, we stand a better chance of expressing ourselves and therefore getting to reach the greater consensus of very, very serious matters in this country.
Okay, sir.
Couple of examples. You wish me to stop?
No, I'm just agreeing with you, and in the process of managing my time.
Up here.
Yes.
I would like you. No, I listen to the only Grenadian radio station I listen to is GBM, and you can take some solace in that because the others total piffer. Are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm listening to you.
Total piffer. So I don't listen to them. I don't listen to the Buchu Bam Bam and them kind of thing, Mary. But anyway, I would like to make this proposal to GBM. The news reporting on this country needs some attention. The language spoken, the pronunciation, the use of the prepositions, the verbal structures from the news items, and even from the knowledge, poor knowledge seemingly, of many of the reporters, announcers, and repeaters on the station. They need to look at it seriously this year because I shall be implacable and unrelenting in criticizing. I believe we have to speak well. I believe that we should teach. I believe that the radio and the media are ancillary forms of education to people. That is why the people who join radio and television must be versed in the language and its proper usage. I'll give you an example, 2 examples. I heard a news announcement recently, a death announcement recently, about a person who died and who lived at Rose Hill, at Trinidad. Now, tell me what that means. Children listen to this, and they repeat it because it came from a radio personality. And this is destructive to their capacity. I heard a certain government official say, we could have done what we did only because. We could have done what we did. For Christ's sake, if you could have done it, you didn't do it. Oh, you did what you didn't do. You understand the point?
Yes, sir.
And people believe what they hear these people say. But I think that's my problem. I feel insulted, and I want to see it corrected. Or be prepared to withstand the wrath of my tongue.
Great.
Thank you very much,
sir.
Will you?
All the best to you. 352041. That's the number on the inside. It is Friday. It is open line. It's to the point. We take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we continue with the program.
Grenada's chief medical officer has ordered that all confirmed positive COVID-19 individuals, their contacts, and members of their household must remain in quarantine or isolation for 14 days. Anyone who fails to comply with this order will be in breach of the Public Health COVID-19 Regulations 2020 and is guilty of an offense. Upon summary conviction, that person will be liable to a penalty of up to $10,000. A message from the Ministry of Health.
Good morning. Welcome back to the program. It is to the point. Good morning, my dear friend Chris Andrew. How are you? And yes, I am agreeing with him 100%, and I'm agreeing with you. It is very sad. You and I could have a drink on that any day. We continue with the program. It is Friday. It is open line. It is to the point. You get an opportunity today to chime in, to add your little salt and pepper, your little 2 pence as it is, to whatever social issues, whatever it is, some concern that you have regarding the reopening of school, anything along that line, you can feel free to do that. And certainly there have been contributions that have made their way to the WhatsApp platform. This comment here says, good morning. Person says they're posting. Apparently, from what I'm picking up, schools are still waiting on the Ministry of Education for the approval. Well, that I don't necessarily agree. So this call is contribution saying, the person saying that schools are still awaiting the Ministry of Education for the approval of the specific opening plans. And that I want to disagree. Well, I mean, I see no reason why that should be the case when in fact we have the minister and the CEO saying unequivocally that school reopens on Monday the 11th. The process starts. It is a phased process from Monday the 11th, and the following week starting the 18th. Now, what of course in each school, because of course, given the conversation of size of school populations, there will be different dynamics that comes into play, and so the schools, each individual school, would then tweak a program that is specific to them. So it can't be in any way that they're waiting on the ministry for formal approval when in fact that has been given. Classic, good morning, you're live.
Yes, Joseph, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yes, I just want to read the scripture as usual. And today I want to read from Amos chapter 5. Just a few verses, about 7 or 8. Therefore, oh my goodness.
A few, please, thank you.
Satan, no, the page just something. Let me call you back. The devil is a liar.
435-2041. The devil is in fact a liar. We continue with the program. Feel free to call to give your thoughts and your comments. So as I'm saying that the ministry, as far as I am aware, having had both of the two of the officials, the minister and her CEO, they were here with me on Wednesday, and they clearly articulated that the authorization, the go-ahead, the green light has been given for the resumption of school. Classic, good morning. 25 past the hour. You're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Joe.
Good morning to you, sir.
Now, I never like to criticize or to comment on what people have said. Now, I have a tendency to agree with Mr. Rulo for communication skill. A lot of us, we are placed in position where we shouldn't be placed, maybe because of political reason or because of social upbringing or whatever it is. Now, I have always listened, and I'm always listening to even GBN and other stations. And we have a lot of simple errors that have been made. For example, in communication skills. For example, you hear people saying that, I don't even want to mention that, but I'll still mention that. Maybe you could help me. What do I understand by that? I'm not too sure. And what I'm saying to myself, well, what did you say that you're telling the people that you are not too sure? It's either you know or you don't know. And it's better to say you don't know rather than say nothing. Now, I usually, when my head puts me on the right track, usually take down some of the mistakes. I have a black book then. If I were to look at my black book, I wasn't ready for that this morning. Because I don't want people to say that this man criticizing and he cannot do better. Because a lot of people criticize, but they cannot do better. Now, that is why I would normally don't pie them out. But I join with Mr. Rolo because we lack the good communication skill. For example, when I say you, when people sort of educating people, and they would say, add up. I'm wondering, the only time you could add up, let's say you have 4 and 2. You have 4 at the bottom, and you say 4 and 2 is 6. But maybe you can add down 2 and 4. Or maybe you could add, as you would say, diagonally across. Or you could regroup. So then there is you don't have to say add up. Or this thing. That is, as you would call that redundancy. I wouldn't say that. I would say you shouldn't do that.
Okay, sir.
No, and this is what, no, I don't want to comment much, because when you comment, people say that you're playing bright or you're playing intelligent. In fact, even I always ask myself, what do we mean by reading? And I've always said, reading silently, you're likely to get more meaning from reading silently. Now, it depends. You could read for different reasons. For pronunciation, for articulation, and plus. I don't know the others. But this is what we have, or we could read in just for calling words. If you call words, you don't read. And the only how you could know people read is if you quiz them. As you would say, Joe, quiz, but I would say if you question them and they could answer your question. For example, if I were to write or ask somebody to read this sentence for me, and they read it, this is a black dog, and I ask them what is the color of the dog, and they can't tell me. They cannot tell me. Then I wouldn't say they read.
I would not necessarily agree with you, because remember, there's reading and there's interpretation, there's analyzation to what has been read. So that's a different conversation. So I would not agree with you, but I mean, I'm understanding the point that you were making.
Strong. Definitely, that's why you should know when one should know when you say reading. Reading for what? For example, you put a child to read to a public. Obviously, if you put the child to read to a public, I don't know your aim. Because you could read for different reasons. Anyhow, it takes a wise man to play the part of a fool, and a fool to play the part of a wise man. That's what I'm giving you this money to think of.
Well, I guess either way, you have played your part quite carefully. All the best to you, sir. 435-2041. It is 29 minutes gone past the hour in the morning time. Someone asked, could stone have been placed to keep the sea back and had, as has been done on the western side of the island? Do you think the people concerned took too long to act? I call to mind the issue with the preschool in the Limes and other instances. 435-2041. We go back to the telephone line. Good morning, you're live.
Back with you.
Yes, go ahead, please.
as I said, I'm reading from Amos chapter 5 and verse 13. Therefore, the prudent shall keep silent in that time. For, oh, Jesus. Oh, my goodness. This, no, boy. Every time I go to read, the page just getting, something just coming up over the page.
Okay, no problem then.
I'll call you. Try again.
435-2041. It is To The Point. Open line Friday. And we have another caller. Classic. Good morning. You're live.
Morning. Greetings, Brother Joe.
Good morning. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Now, Brother Joe, you see, we're missing out in ourselves. We've been created by a God that creates us as human, and we are the image of them more than Father, and they make us in a certain order, and this order is a perfect order. That's why we creep to walk and stand up to walk and run. You know what I'm saying? Now we consolidate our mindset in an imperfect mind state. And we continuously in this world like human beings want to go back and creep like little children, even though we're perfect enough to do it. Now, we as a people, look, when we look in this world, look China, they putting themselves together. Even down here they come and they didn't want us to walk amongst them. Now, look, the European, they pull themselves together, they're working together. What are we doing as a race, a family that was scattered through the four corners of the earth? As I said to you all, the Armageddon is now, meaning black people come back together, come forward, not back, forward together. Let's leave out this culture that they pump inside of us, and let's go back to our ancestors and let them get divorced. Let our ancestors get divorced. Only them that can help us.
Okay, sir.
This thanks my birthday.
Thank you very much. 435-320, sorry. 435-2041. To The Point. It is Friday. Feel free to, you can make your contribution directly via the telephone line, or you can make your submissions via the WhatsApp portal. Let me see what is here. This person says it has been almost a week since we had our first COVID-19, death related to COVID-19, and up to now we have okay. So I'm just going to summarize this. So up to the person's their query, the concern is that since the first announcement, they have not had any update. Now, if we follow this right, remember that the health minister, we remember that a committee was set up and in place, and they were advised to report to the minister in a week's time. So the report has to be submitted, and then therefore it would be made public. So we're assuming that information has been put together, and at some point they're going to submit a report. But that is what the understanding was, that the committee was put together, including different individuals, and they would, in a week time from the date started, which is only this week, they would put the report together. Yes, I remember the story first broke on Sunday. When the press conference was announced, and we heard, I'm trying to remember if it's Monday or Tuesday, that the health minister, that the announcement was made of that committee being set up. I don't want to say which day, but it's one of those days early in the week, and they were given a week within which to complete their report. 435-2041, that is the number on the inside. We go back to the telephone lines. Classic, good morning, you're live. 435-2041. It is Friday. It is Open Line Friday. We go back. Good morning, you're live.
Yes, I'm making a third try, and I'm going to just go. Therefore, the prudent shall keep silent in that time, for it is an evil time. Seek good and not evil, that you may live. And so the Lord, the God of hosts, shall be with you as you have spoken. Hate the evil and love the good, and establish come up again. I tell you.
We seem to be having some challenges, Ms.
It's just something that's coming up and cover the screen.
Oh, well, you will have to try to sort it out, and then we'll probably get back to you. 435-2041. I'm just saying, it's an open line, and there are other persons who are making attempts just the same to get through. 435-2041. That is the number. We take another call. Classic, good morning, your life.
Yeah, morning, Joseph, and Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you as well.
Okay. I have three issues. I hope you can give me time. I won't take long, but I want to say two are related to COVID and related to the children, and one is related to the situation in St. Patrick. In relation to COVID, as we ask our children to go back out to school, I'm wondering if the authorities have really considered the danger we are putting our children into in terms of having to travel on the bus. The children whose parents have vehicles and so on, that's maybe not a problem. But the children who have to go on the buses, many buses don't have sanitizers, and people still not wearing their masks. I'm very concerned about about the health and safety of our children. The second point in relation to that, there are some children who are being left behind to the cracks. Children who, because of the uncertainty, the unpredictability in and out of school and so on, they are not getting the kind of help that they need. I know children who, once there's no school, all they do is play. In a way, you can't blame them. If I was me, I was playing too, because their parents may not have the capacity or the ability to really motivate them to come in and study. Sometimes they're conditioned in the house. So we have to look at that. Otherwise, we're creating future problem for the future, difficulty for the future. Now, the last point, and the most substantive point, I'm very disturbed. I've tried to be minimal in my public discourse, but I cannot help this morning. I heard a piece of news on your network related to the breakwater, and as somebody who has paid an interest and written and spoken about that, even on your establishment, I'm concerned even at this point in time, about the misleading thing. For instance, I know that the leader of Grenada, when a question was posed in a meeting that he was in, and the question was not even posed to him, it was posed to somebody from St. Patrick. He volunteered to answer the question, and his answer was, I take responsibility for this. No, there was no EIA done. Now, if you're talking about governance, if you're talking about the rule of law, if you're talking about process, now how could one person decide something that will impact the future, our very survival? And now we're going to give some kind of charity to the people. What is our understanding of relationship? People have relationships with land and area. Now the people have to be evacuated. And even when people like me and others were talking about, I was very cool on your platform. So I'm asking for accountability. I'm asking for transparency. We need to hold people accountable in this country. Too many things. Most of the problem, the environmental problem we have in Grenada could be sourced back to one group of people in terms of they allowing things to happen. And I want to end here by saying something I've said over and over in the last 2 years or so. We are witnessing our own funeral. And COVID is probably making it even more definite. We are witnessing our own funeral. The only thing that needs to be decided when would be the burial. Until we wake up, we'll be in trouble.
Thank you, sir. All the best.
Yeah.
435-2041. Let me just focus my attention on what's happening via the social media platform. This person says, I don't think that we can consider what was said on radio programs as official for school. They are supposed to be contacted with the relevant information. Principals, teachers are not obliged to listen to radio. Nevertheless, I think a memo was sent, and I want to get back to that. Also, this person is saying that officials, be it health, education, finance, or otherwise, must keep their language simple when giving information to the public. The objective should not be to show how bright you are, but to ensure the understanding of the target audience. Communication is key. There's given information and there is communication. Now, caller, not just to respond, yes, in fact, there was a document that was issued. The memo, in fact, was issued. There's a memo that was issued from the ministry, which reads to officers of schools, curriculum division, student support services. It went out. That was the memo is dated the 5th of January, and that was Tuesday. Yes, 5th of January. And it says the subject, engagement of students, week 2 and 3, Hillary term 2021. And it basically outlines what is expected to happen. The CEO did say that there was a staggered approach, a phased approach to getting back to returning to the classroom. And that memo clearly articulates that. And it also highlights the fact that principals, teachers in charge, are reminded to work with their district education officers, early education officers, and school managers, where applicable, to update the school's specific plan. These plans would require the approval of the chief education. I must have lost something when that document was being pasted. But really and truly, as we've been saying, there has to be some communication that's taking place between the schools. I would probably suggest to persons that have not had any direct communication, today being Friday, it probably would not hurt that they should contact their schools. But as it is, there should be some form of communication. The memo finally goes on to say that these plans will require approval by the chief education officer. And which is interesting that this is what this communique is actually articulating, because in speaking with the officials this week, you almost got the sense that they already gave the go-ahead. Listen, whatever you guys agree upon, that's what's going to happen. So therein you can see probably lying some of the challenges, but that's not for me to speak directly towards anyway. But let's wait on the education officials. Classic, good morning. You're live.
Sir.
Good morning to you.
I just want to say frankly, yet politely, that it is more important for us to be decent citizens and respectful persons to people in our country than to be able to speak the Queen's English that even she has not perfected. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your contribution. 435-2041. It's about 17 minutes onto the hour. We take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back. It is To the Point for today, the 8th of January. Exploring the beaten trails, discovering uncharted terrain, connecting with people and places, giving a renewed appreciation for our flora and fauna. We are out and about. From the crystal white sands of Grandin's Beach to the cascading and majestic tumble of Concord Falls, the meandering of the St. John's River, or our undulating mountain ranges. We are out and about. Saturdays, live on GBN Television, our Facebook page, and our YouTube channel. Out and about, rediscovering the untamed beauty of Spice Country. Beauty of Spice Country. 17 minutes onto the hour. This person says the education system in Grenada has bought parents to pay a fortune for private classes. What will happen to the kids whose parents cannot afford to pay for the classes? 435-2041. Let's see what's on WhatsApp. But before we do that, engage the telephone lines. Classic, good morning. You're live.
I just want to make 3 quick points. The first one is the breakwater in St. Patrick. Apparently, I was born in St. Patrick, Bathway. I grew up in England, and I love coming to St. Patrick, especially around that area. It was so beautiful. And on the onset of developing the breakwater, it was said it was going to be a Petion's model in St. Patrick. I spoke to some people, told them that would never happen. I'm always visiting St. Patrick, and I'm so disappointed with the way the water has coming to the land and eroding all the places. My point is this. I've traveled to an island called Croatia in Europe, and it's so similar to Grenada in geography and terrain and mountain and the sea, and they have lots of stones, and they use the stones so beautifully to protect the sea, to the land, and also the hills. I'm wondering, we have so many stones in Grenada, why can't we do that kind of a project with local people? Secondly, is education. I was educated in Grenada in the River Sally private primary school. I've got my foundation here, and I did excellent in England up to, I've got, master's level, and I've been an educator for my government. When I look at Grenada, and, for example, I visited the River Sally St. Patrick's School, and I was appalled at the condition of the school and the teaching, quality of teaching. I'm asking myself, what has gone wrong with our education system? How do we train our teachers? How do we involve parent partnership in education? How can the central government be the central core of education? Thirdly, last point is this. I think we in Grenada can do a lot to help ourselves. I think we're too dependent on the government. Something has to be done to stimulate our people, especially our young people, to take responsibility and accountability for our lives. We have the resources, we have the skills, we just need directives, motivation, and we need leadership. We really have to do more for ourselves as a nation, or else our young people will be left behind. And a nation is as strong as its family support. We need to look at our family support, how we bring up our children, how our fathers and mothers are accountable. How many children do we have? What sort of future do we want for our country? We have to do more for ourselves and less dependent on foreigners and other people to support us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, caller. 435-2041. And this falling just looking at the conversation that is trending via social media, and I'm getting a lot of comments, and there seems to be the common position that, as this caller says, apparently for what they are understanding, that the schools are actually awaiting the ministry for the approval of those specific opening plans. So apparently that's what it is. Yes, they were given the go-ahead, and the communique does in fact speak to that they have to submit it, and then all things being equal, they now await the approval of their submitted plans. 435-2041. We go back to the telephone line. Classic, good morning. You're a live caller.
This is my first time calling the program, right? But I have a concern.
Sure, go ahead.
I know it's right that when you're going out in business places, you got to give your name, your phone number, and your address. But it's kind of getting upsetting because most of the time, according to places that you go, and you give your number, the securities and the workers there are calling people for and terrorizing you all over the night. And I find that it's high time that the ministry or the security companies or whoever try to talk to the workers and tell them this is wrong. Because I lied in my bed last night and I answered a phone call. And when I answered the phone call, our security was telling me, I get your name off a certain book that where you came and you leave your number on the book. And I find that is upsetting. You understand? And I said that if you don't stop, then I'm going to come into the company and talk to them about you. Otherwise, I'm going to call the registration. This is why I'm calling the registration this morning, because I'm getting fed up of it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I hope that they're listening and they can do something about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. At the caller's point, it actually draws focus on two issues. How do we keep people's information confidential? And that has to be a critical component. Yes, we understand the purpose that it serves for that of, in the eventuality, for that of contact tracing. But I do agree, because I've gone to some places and they just literally have a book. Where the book is stationed, literally you watch it, and I agree. For security purposes, and I'm agreeing, my name, my number, that's my private information. Whatever information, even the temperature, it isn't scripted on the document. That should, I think business places should take a greater effort, whatever challenges there is, to make sure, notwithstanding that lady's concern, that people's personal information, it remains private. Classic, good morning. 10 minutes to the hour. You're alive. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning to you.
I just want to take the time off to extend condolences to the Care family of Parklet on the passing of their mom. This lady has made tremendous contribution to our society by providing us with good people. You have people like the Speaker of the House, Francis Taylor, Elizabeth, a teacher, former principal of SJC Grenville, Mrs. Maras, and many others. We just want to say be strong in this time. So many times people like that, they stay at home, but they contribute immensely to our society. And we just want to say continue and be strong. God is with you. Have a nice day.
Great. Thank you very much, caller. 10 minutes onto the hour. I have just about 5 minutes left with you officially. Is the sound of Classic 105.5, 105.9. It is to the point for Friday. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller. You're live. Hello, caller. You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yes, morning.
Go ahead, please, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Joe, you ever had a speaking test in class? Ever schools ever had a speaking test? I ain't talking about a reading test, about a speaking test.
Well, I can't. I'm not sure if I know exactly what you're referring to. I mean, if you're asking me personally, that's a different.
No, I mean in your experience, if you ever had that as an exam in your school type.
Well, not as an exam. I have had training, of course, in the days when the ministry had arts festival.
No, I understand. My point is that we don't teach that in school. They don't have that.
We don't have what, sir?
Right, we don't have speaking. So this whole slave attitude, tell them, take it easy with that. Thank you.
425-2041. Listen. There is that which the mainstream education is going to teach you, and there are other auxiliary support arms in the school that allows for that, which is choral speaking, these different things. I know at the GBSS you had things of speech night with persons. You're allowed to do different things. So, I mean, I'm not sure what is, but anyway, I will leave that alone. 435-2041. And go back to the telephone line. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Go ahead, please.
I just want to remind us that the Word of God says, any man or woman destroy the environment will be judged. And I want to say this morning, when I look at the damage and the news that water damage on that side, and a few months ago, a man from St. Andrews was jogging out some sand from the sea in a bucket. And he was arrested and charged and jailed for trying to destroy the environment. And when I see that, I heard the news say that they tried to remedy up and down destroy. I sad to see what is taking place. Why we don't think and why we don't be fair if we want to protect the environment. Jail a man for a few buckets of sand and look at how much damage. The next point I want to raise up this morning, I was listening to a program and I heard a man call and mention that we have caregivers taking care of the elderly and the elderly picking up bed sore. Then a lady called back and she mentioned that the caregiver only spent 2 hours with the elderly. So she would like the family members to take up the slack. And I want to argue with both callers. Some caretakers, they do the work. But if you have family member, they hold back. They don't give it everything. They feel well the family member have to do it. But we have to pass beyond that. do it for love. You're doing it for the elderly sake, you know what I mean? And bed sore is lack of care. When I say that, I have experience I could share. When you get in age, your skin is not strong as before. You have to be taken care as a baby again. Change regular, turn regular, and because of the neglect, the patient pick up bed sore. I would love to see the Minister of Health improve, especially in the general hospital. You have bed that you could lift up the patient so it's more easy and comfortable for the caretaker, so they could move the patient, and that will prevent bed sores so quick.
Okay.
And the patient. Have a good day.
Thank you very much. And that caller, as it is, would be the final caller for today. It's 5 minutes on to the hour. We want to say thanks to all who participated in the program, whether through your direct telephone calls or via your contribution on the WhatsApp portal or the social media front. We say thanks for being part of the broadcast. This is where my journey for today, Friday, it takes me thus far. But here's what. The good Lord's willing, we'll be back next week doing this all over again. Wishing you all the best and have yourself a really wonderful Friday. Enjoy the rest of the day. I will now, of course, place you in the hands of David Moraine, the Golden Child, and he will take you through midday. JC loves you to the point. All our listeners, those of you online via all the different social media platforms, have a great one. I'm out of here for now.